Screen.
Two student women's eights here, Oxford Brookes A on the left and Cambridge University Boat Club on the right. So it's Oxford and Cambridge, but not that Oxford.
It's a different matchup, but it's going to be just as fierce. We saw Cambridge beating Durham yesterday, but this has been talked about on the banks. How will Oxford Brookes do against Cambridge? It's pretty tough for the Cambridge crew. This isn't their peak of the season, but they would love to do well at Henley. But we know that Oxford Brookes have other intentions, and they looked very threatening in their race yesterday.
Yeah, well, Brookes have got a very strong squad, but this is 7 of the boat race winning crew of 8 up at Ely. They've added Rebecca Dell at 7, winning Blondie, so the reserve Cambridge race, and Kasia Pilch at 3, Polish junior and under-23 international. But right now, well, Brookes have laid down their intentions super clearly here, Kath.
Yeah, Oxford Brookes were 5 seconds faster to the barrier yesterday, so we knew they had that really fast start, that fast power there. And the question is for Cambridge whether they can hang on, get some length going. It's looking a little bit rushed at the moment. Of course, they're going to try and keep that rate up when they know they're already down. But in a way, they need to just relax a little bit, try and get into their rhythm now. It's going to take them a long time to get anything back, because the Oxford Brookes crew are just rowing away at the moment.
Yeah, they're just through 400 metres or so, that quarter-mile signal you saw passing there. And I think, for my money, the Cambridge crew is struggling a little bit more with the windier conditions, potentially. Haven't got quite the power and push to be able to hold the Brookes crew. And now Brookes are trying to break to a clear water lead at a really early stage of their race. So they threw down the gauntlet really firmly in the face of Cambridge. They would love the opportunity to be the Oxford crew that races Cambridge in the boat race. They're not that, so they're taking this chance to show their class here at Henley.
It is always pretty tough for the Oxford and the Cambridge crews to get themselves to peak again at Henley. Everybody stops and does exams, and really that boat race, it was so exciting to be able to have the boat race earlier this year. It was one of the first events that we actually had, first sporting events after the huge break in 2020. And so it's brilliant for these crews to be able to Ely almost show us the light, the way back to racing again.
I like that image, Kaz. You're absolutely right. It was the first thing that had happened. There was no spectators allowed on the banks. It was very clinical in a totally different location. And actually, the women's boat race was an absolute humdinger, a real epic. And we'll see the cocks of the Cambridge men's boat in due course. But this Cambridge women's boat, at the moment, you're looking at the bow pair, you're looking at the bow pair there in the Cambridge women's boat, which is Catherine King and Gemma King, the twins, 21 years of age, twins in the bow seat. That's always a good recipe. They tend to work really well together and set the boat up well, but currently struggling to match the power of the Oxford Brookes crew.
They are lightweights. They're a lightweight pair. They've raced as a lightweight pair in the Hambledon Pairs Challenge, as well as Henley Women's Regatta. They're wonderful, obviously great sort of in-sync pair, but they are not being able to manage the power that we see in the Oxford Brookes crew, stroked by Harriet Ferguson, who is so excited about the season they've had. She talked about the brilliant season. They've won Henley Women's Regatta Championship 8s. They won Bucks Championship Gold in the 8 and the Coxless 4. They're so excited to finally be racing a student event at Henley Royal Regatta after such a difficult year. And Harriet spoke about how privileged she feels to race alongside such a group of such fantastic, resilient women and men at Oxford Brookes.
Well, Brookes are now able to lower their stroke rate a little bit and relax into the lead that they've opened up as they pass the halfway mark. Full lead plus 9 metres is halfway, and that Brookes crew looks really strong, doesn't it, Kat?
Really impressive. They're applying that power and so much run in between each stroke, so they're getting that wonderful balance, that ratio of power in the water, and they're just letting the boat run. And of course they're looking back at Cambridge scrapping behind them, and you gain with confidence in every single stroke that you take. They are coached by Richard Chambers, who you'll know with British Olympic lightweight medals, and they've enjoyed being coached by him. He's come and made a huge difference, added to the already impressive Oxford Brookes coaching team. And Kira Allen from Canada has said that none of her friends or family can come, but they will be having a viewing party at home to cheer her on in Canada. So if you're watching Kira Allen's family, it's great to have you on board.
Yeah, and it's great you mentioned the coaching there as well, because we look at the athletes in the boat, but a lot of it is down to the coaches picking the crew, motivating them, spotting talent, helping people to build. And you mentioned Richard Chambers, now at Oxford. Brookes was previously, of course, at Cambridge, really apprenticeship in his coaching career there, working on the men's side of things. But he's now at Brookes and added to that incredible program that they have there. So, Kathy, you also mentioned the sort of time of year. Now, obviously, it's been a disrupted year for everybody, but the peak of the year for anybody at Oxford or Cambridge in the top crews is the boat race, which takes place much earlier in the season. We don't often see them coming through into the summer and continuing their program. It's so intense, isn't it, to prepare for that race through the winter months and then deploy, and generally the athletes have other things to do after that.
It is. It's the boat race is a fearsome sort of 7 months, 2 turns project that they're actually gearing up to start in just a few weeks. So with Henley Regatta coming in August, that's a sort of a time when they're just usually preparing to start the beginning of September, the lead round to the boat race next year. So it's always a challenge for Oxford and Cambridge to find a way of having that all year round programme to enable them to compete better here. But for Oxford Brookes, this is their peak. They want to make a statement here, and they look so impressive. Issy Hawes in the 5-seat has said that they are reaping the benefits of tough lockdown training. These women that we're looking at here have been on the ergo for hours and hours, and since they got back in the boat, my goodness, they have put a crew together that is so impressive here. They're excited at what they've been able to do to, gel as a crew, put those fantastic winning results out at the Henley Women's Regatta in Bucks, and they have big aspirations for what they can do here. This is the semi-final, and they are making sure that they can do everything to get into that final tomorrow.
Yeah, and Cambridge continue to attack. Look at them, there's definitely aggression going on there, really trying to push it as they come through to the last section of the course, mile at the 8th mark there. They'll see the number 1 up, and, well, there's quite a bit of clear water between now, them and Oxford Brookes. And in this position, you just got to hold your head high and make sure that you're going with the process, keep moving together and do the best you can to deploy the best possible race you can, and that's all you can do.
Absolutely. Dylan Whittaker, of course, was cox of the winning women's boat race earlier this year, who, at the time said he was just so grateful to be able to take part in that race and grateful to be here because he's someone who worked in the hospitals, including the ICU, during the COVID period, and so he's delighted to be here, but he has not done enough to come close to this impressive crew.
And in the Brookes crew that cox Elise Sanderson, you saw a great shot of her there, just urging her crew on, coaching them technically, motivating them, and telling them how far they've got to go. And it's only a few strokes now for Brookes A crew through in the Ireland Student Women's 8 Cup with a clear victory. Oxford Brookes A beating the Cambridge University crew, most of them boat race winners from earlier this year at Ely. As Cambridge crossed the line, well, they put everything out there, but really they were no match for the power and depth of the Brookes A crew. So Brookes take Cambridge in the Ireland.